bed and breakfast. But the problem is, um, guests don't want to stay all night.
They run
So,
screaming from the building.
right, right. So, very interesting place. I know during our investigation, it was definitely quite active, and um, you know, it's good when you do have a place that you hear about like that, because honestly, it's so rare for you to go to a place that you've heard so much about and actually experience all that stuff. Usually you get there and nothing happens, or just maybe one or two things, maybe an EVP here or there. But when you go somewhere and the activity that you encounter actually matches what you've been told, that's
Closely.
pretty phenomenal. So that is definitely pretty phenomenal.
And apparently the door opening wasn't something that they were anticipating.
Hmm.
So maybe it was just demonstrating what it could do. But
Hmm.
when we were there, we had so much equipment set up.
Hmm.
So much equipment.
Yeah,
And
I try and travel light, but you always insist on bringing so much stuff.
and I have new cases so I can bring more stuff. Yes. I am I actually did. Somebody was interviewing me the other day, and I said, "Yes, I truly am a tech junkie. I'm coming out of the closet. I've already been outed, so I am. I have all these things that I'm going to be putting together, and I'm waiting so that I can get with you because I need the information on the batteries again because I don't want to use the here feed it the you know double A's, triple A's like candy. I want to go ahead and get it set up, have
Mhm.
good batteries that I can recharge, and go with it. So you're going to be getting that phone call now that I'm mobile. I've got my soldering kit and I'm good to go.
Awesome, awesome. That and yeah, if anybody listening builds equipment and stuff, just yes, your equipment will be you'll have to charge a little bit more for it, but go ahead, put the higher price on it, and put rechargeable batteries on here.
I'd
The
pay
lithium
for it.
ion. Anybody would gladly pay 15, 20 extra dollars for an upgraded battery that they're not going to have to um, buy out every battery on the rack for every investigation, that
Absolutely.
so so yeah, that's that and it's something that's actually every day becomes a little bit easier. Used to you had to rely on like the rechargeable double A's and
Right.
the other styles that weren't that great. And then the lithium ion came out and became popular, and um, it as as it gets more and more popular, the battery sizes get smaller and smaller and smaller, and it is more readily available, and it's definitely the great way to go. I have one battery pack that can run my cameras for it's I know I've gotten at least 16 hours of use out of it. I run out of memory cards well before I'll ever run out of battery, powering my camera, my infrared lights, and everything. And the battery is, it weighs about a pound. So, and it's not that large. It doesn't take up a whole lot of space. And this thing is powerful enough to you can literally jumpstart a car with
Always handy,
it.
especially if AAA says you're where.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. You know what? We're up on our first break.
Oh, well.
I know, right? So this is going to be 3 minutes. We'll be back in just a few. So y'all enjoy it.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experienced here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour. And we're back. And thank y'all so much for listening. I'm not going to talk a whole lot as we come back in from these breaks because you know I have Frank Lee with me. You know it's Paranormal Experienced. And the time goes too fast when we get together. So we were talking about upgrading your batteries and tech developers upgrading theirs. Spend the money. If you don't know how to make one, you can look online. You can find out how to connect it to your equipment, and bada boom, bada bing. If I can do it, you can do it. We were talking about that SLS camera that I won, and I'm thrilled that I won it, but it still hasn't functioned properly. And the only thing anyone ever says to me is, well, you do have Duracell batteries in there, right? And I'm like, the brand should not matter. If the equipment functions, it functions. I may have to replace them more often, but that should not be the deciding factor.
Right. I mean, well, I went to school for electronics, and
Yeah.
I never remember, and when the professor was telling us that 1.5 volts equals 1.5 volts, which powers this circuit that runs off of 1.5 volts. He never said, now this only applies to a Duracell battery. Now, if you're going to use an Ever-Ready, then you're going to need to use 1.8 volts, and you're going to need to use this formula here.
Exactly. And I tried to explain that, but every time, and I'm not going to say who it is because he was generous enough to donate that. And immediately when I started having trouble with it, they were going to stop supporting that. So I may add them eventually because I thought that was tacky. But, you know, it's just, you just need good equipment.
Hmm.
And good equipment is going to operate well no matter what you put in it.
Right. Right. No, I mean, of course, with battery quality, you are going to have some batteries that last longer. You're going to have different usage patterns that, so some of them, the way that they deplete is going to um, be more gradual than others. Some are going to go strong and then all of a sudden just die. Some of them are going to be more of a slow, steady fade out. You will see those differences between brands, but as far as getting something to power on and operate and use it for a few minutes just to to test it out, yeah, that brand doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, I use Evereadys. I like Eveready batteries, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, yeah. I've always had good luck with them, and I've and in September will be 20 years that I've been investigating, and in 20 years I've had pretty good luck with Eveready's and the other ones, and I've went through a ton of them.
I'd say,
If you price what I've probably spent on batteries alone,
you could have a
uh,
Maserati.
oh God, it probably so.
And I'm going to tell you, I parked next to one of those today, and those suckers are sweet.
Hmm.
So, what do you think? I don't think I've ever asked you this question, but
Hmm.
we have someone in chat who is always interested in the equipment that we use.
Hmm.
And what equipment, I know he's going to put it in here. I'm just going to beat you to it, Carl. But what equipment is your favorite equipment to use and why?
Well, um, I have technically I've got two answers to that question. Um,
You only get one. No,
as
I'm kidding.
right that the well, I would say that probably my favorite would be the camera. Um, because it's great for documenting everything. That it you have it if you carry it with you, if you cover all the angles, you have your audio covered, you've got your video, you remember who was where at what time, and it gives you a lot of information. um, I will say if you carry a camera for anything other than documentation purposes, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. um, and a lot of people on investigations do the process backwards. They carry the camera in hopes of capturing an apparition, and that being the expectation, that they're going to get some kind of paranormal phenomena on the recording that they get, and end up being disappointed because they don't capture that, but they inadvertently document the investigation. Whereas the way that it needs to be is you go in with the intention of documenting the investigation and inadvertently capturing something paranormal.
Well,
So, so I will say that, and one thing I always tell people is, and you've seen how much equipment I've got. I mean, I have thousands of dollars worth of gear, and that's just what I have currently. That's not even counting all
what you
the other things
retired?
that I've. Right, right. That because when I first got into this paranormal gear, you know, cameras and things like that was pretty expensive. And thankfully, the technology has came down quite a bit in price over the years. Um, but out of everything that I own currently and have ever owned